My older sister Stacy was more academic and loved to read, so she was indoors a lot. But I was a tomboy, almost like a son to my dad. Even though I grew up in town, he raised me outdoors, and besides hunting and fishing, he taught me how to play sports. My parents never missed my games, and my dad came to every practice to watch and give me pointers on how to do better. In the summers, I traded in my sports uniforms for a bathing suit. My very best memories growing up were spending time with my family at my grandparents' fishing camp, where I swam, fished, water skied in Lake D'Arbonne, climbed the pine trees that ringed the lake, went out in the bass boat, and enjoyed fish fries and campfires. Pawpaw and Mama Strickland, my grandparents on my dad's side, owned a fishing camp at Lake D'Arbonne. Outside his trailer, Pawpaw kept an old horizontal freezer unplugged and full of dark, crumbly dirt and earthworms. I spent lots of time, just for funsies, digging around in the freezer for worms. I loved the feel of the cool, damp soil and didn't at all mind the dirt under my fingernails. When I got tired of the worms, I'd head down to the little beach and go swimming, or lie on the warm sand as the boats went in and out. I learned how to water ski on my Tweety Bird skis and later how to slalom. Mom refused to go in the warm, brownish water. She was girly and didn't like to get her hair wet. It never failed, though, but Dad would pick her up and throw her in the lake, kicking and screaming. As I grew older, my parents let me invite friends to the lake. After swimming and fishing, we'd sometimes take walks along the water and down to the woods, where we'd pick up arrowheads. I remember exploring old abandoned shacks, half there, half not, that captured my imagination as I wondered what delights awaited inside. I began to find joy in discovering and rescuing abandoned treasures, such as 100-year-old dishes left behind and waiting for someone to come along and give them a new home. Not only did I love the campfires, fish fries, and time spent with family and friends, but I really loved spending time with my grandparents. When he wasn't working on the oil rigs, my papa was always around because he loved being with my grandmother, Lola. They were best friends and did everything together, including hunting and fishing. Papa had kind eyes and a little scratchy stubble on his cheeks that tickled when I gave him a kiss. He also had hair in his ears, and it was my job to help him trim it. He chewed tobacco from a little white bag and always kept a gold spittoon nearby. Papa loved to sit around in his blue coveralls, the only thing I ever saw him wear, and shoot the bull with the boys. On Mama's deathbed, she made us promise to make sure he always had clean coveralls. I'll never forget my Mama's sewing room filled with scraps and bolts of cloth, buttons, thread, and trimmings. In that room, I felt like a little kid in the most beautiful toy store you could imagine, full of magic and possibilities. Mama kept busy making beautiful clothes and quilts, some of which I still have. My dad followed his father into the oil business, starting out as a roughneck, later becoming a supervisor. I was born in Bossier, Louisiana, before Dad's work took us to Shreveport, Louisiana, and later to Tyler, Texas. Eventually, we ended up back in West Monroe in time for me to attend first grade. When we relocated to West Monroe, we moved into an apartment building. One day, a little girl named Meredith with dark curly